Hello, nice to see you. I hope you find it nice to see me as well. So this is I wanted to talk about like what it takes to really change your life, and I have been talking about this topic before because I find it so important. Obviously, many of you are wanting to change, and but many of us forget the importance of stopping with something before you can start with something. When I say change, many people, they think, yeah, I'm going to start with something new. I need to be different. I need to do something different. I need to live a new life. I need to be another person. I need to have new habits, etc., etc. Often that is what most of us think about when we think about change. And then we forget that we forget the importance of stopping with whatever doesn't serve you first before you can be clean and open enough for new habits, for whatever new things that can come to your life that will actually make you change, that will be the change. It can be new habits, new information about yourself, new interests, new jobs, new relationships, a new view on yourself. So before we get to have that bliss, we need to do the very boring and sometimes often very scary and painful job of stopping with habits and relationships that we have understood is not good for us. So we need to stop before we start. This is very important. This is like a big part of transformation, a big part of change. And it's very logic also. Like we need to clean our slate, so to speak. We need to stop so that we are more receptive to whatever new info comes. So we don't have to force it in that way. It's sort of natural, but it takes a lot of discipline though. So it takes discipline to stop with certain habits or relationships or behaviors that we are engaging in. It takes a lot of discipline and it takes a lot of willpower. Because why? Well, then I come back to something I've been talking a lot about before. It's familiar. It's familiar. It's home. It's safe. So even though it's behaviors that make us unsafe, even though it's behavior that makes us feel pain, for example, now I'm referring a lot to like if you're stuck in toxic relationships all the time and you know that some people are not good for you, but still you go back to the very same relationship over and over and over again. Why? Because it's home. It's safe. It's your attachment patterns. It reminds you of how you were treated as a child. So you know it's not good, but it's safe. And this is also why you need to stop with something before you can start. So that also goes for relationships. Like if you finish one relationship that wasn't good for you, it's sort of a good idea to stop and pause and face whatever comes up before you can engage in a new relationship. And maybe this new relationship that comes in won't be the one either, but you will be a lot better equipped to discover that, oh, this relationship is also a relationship that is not good for me. So you will be a lot more aware if you have stopped and paused before you take in something new. So really, this process of stopping is like, first of all, to become really aware of all of the defenses you're engaged with in your life. And I've talked about this in other videos, like what self-sabotaging defenses you can engage in or passive defensive mechanisms you can engage in and why. Like if you've been through emotional neglect early in your life, of course, you're going to develop protective mechanisms and you're going to develop different kinds of habits that really help you escape yourself. Because once upon in your life, you had very, very good reasons to escape yourself, because maybe like the environment inside of yourself wasn't very pleasant because the external environment wasn't very pleasant and you were a child, so you didn't know what to do. So you learned to escape yourself. You learned to protect yourself. You learned to start with behaviors and habits that were good for you at the moment, that helped you survive. But when you are grown up, when you are adult, you will notice that these very habits is what making you not survive, is what making your life miserable, is what making you not live your life. It's like, basically, at least making you stuck in a survival mode. So also, it's helping you survive, but maybe you don't want to only survive in your life, especially if you don't have to, it's nothing, there is no evident threat anymore, potentially. You want to also learn how to live, and that is a bit more difficult. Often it's easier actually to survive. Many of you might notice that you can handle like acute situation a lot better, for example, than calm situations, or just when nothing happens. Like you're a lot better equipped for drama than for like boredom or for stillness, because you are wired to survive and not to live. And it's actually in the stillness and in the boredom that life can evolve, like from the death. It's not when, it's drama all the time. Like that's when you water a plant. It needs patience and it takes time. It needs stillness, it needs nurture. You need someone to look after it, and then the flower will come after a while. And it's the same with you. You need to have not too many distractions in order to learn how to live. So really, if you want to change, if you want to learn to live, if you want to go from survival mode into living mode, and if you want to go from fear to love, you need to stop with whatever you acquainted to love and life before, in order for you to learn what is actually acquainted to love and life. What is actually acquainted to love and life, because it's not what you thought. Because if you grew up like in neglect or trauma and drama, then you are very open as a child, so then you associate some certain behaviors and environments or mechanisms to life. Like, okay, this is how life is, and you acquaint like neglect or being constantly criticized or being constantly rejected. You acquaint that to love, because that's like how you were born into this love. And also you forget that you are love when you are born, because you get too dependent on someone who cannot give you love. So that's what you acquaint to love and to life, but actually it's just pure survival. And you need to reprogram yourself by stopping with certain behaviors that sustain this belief. You need to stop with certain defensive mechanisms, with certain distractions. And what are examples of distractions? Well, it can be to work all the time. It can be to activate yourself all the time. It can be to be passive all the time, to just lay on the couch whenever life is giving you shit, whenever life is uncomfortable. It can obviously be more heavy stuff like drugs and alcoholism, which is more same principle, but more difficult to stop with. You might need some help in the program. And distractions, what else can it be? It can be talking a lot. It can be silent. It can be how you talk, like you're talking very critical, like you are disconnecting from connection, like whenever you're getting close and intimate with someone, or whenever you get the chance to feel happiness or to laugh with someone, you sort of cut it off and protect yourself. You withdraw, or you drop a negative comment so everything, gets less fun. And it can be stimulated all the time, like in your life, to basically to avoid stillness, to avoid yourself. So that's the principle. Whatever you do that makes you avoid yourself, to avoid whatever comes up in yourself that you don't want to face. And if the things you don't want to face becomes too loud or too much and you avoid it a lot, then the effect of it will be anxiety and or depression, like a miserable life. So that is what is going to happen. And what is the way out of it is It sounds more simple than it is because it's very hard, but it's basically to stop with all your distractions and to face everything that you've avoided, like the feeling of being unloved, fear, loneliness, confusion, etc. That is the task that you need to stop so that you can face this with or without support, but preferably you need to develop the capacity to face it alone, like not in fancy retreats, because that can be a bypass. Then you can acquaint like these negative emotions with something glamorous, which is not. If you really do want to change, you really need to face it just raw and straight as it is, without a fancy, nice country or supportive persons. But that and them can be inspirations on your path of facing it. But if you really want to be free of this, I suggest, it's very simple. You sit and you face the negative feelings, the uncomfortable feelings. And when you've done that a lot of times, very disciplined and very boring, and when you persevered, what will happen is that if you are attentive, you will notice the streams of light coming in. You will notice the shifts, like when you've been in boredom long enough, or like in pain, like facing difficult emotions and being in stillness. Eventually, if you're attentive, you will notice like the shifts of positive feelings coming in, because that's the natural flow of life. It's low and it's high, and it's like ebb and tide. It's like it's boring and then it's more fun. It's like a winter and a summer. That's how it goes. You don't have to force the change. You just have to be aware. You have to stop, and then you will be more attentive to what the start is coming with. So that's like really to be attentive when you did the work of stopping and stayed and persevered in the boredom and the pain. Then it's not like you need to do anything. You be attentive to the sun of light coming in, and then only then I would say it's timing to start with new things, with new habits, with fulfilling hobbies or activities, or bringing in new people in your life that more match the level of frequency you are developing, like a higher frequency. When you cleaned yourself, then there is a potential for you to change your frequency of life, like you're going from more low vibe living to more high vibe living, which basically is about being more open to light, open to possibilities, and not only seeing threats all the time. So you're operating from a different frequency. So just to start with things, it's all in divine timing. So you can't jump there before you've done the other disciplined work of stopping, facing, and then you can start. So like a snowball effect, then more positive things will also happen, and you will be more aware of when you are falling back into like past habits or your bad habits. You will become more aware. So because it's not like you're just gonna flow, like it's gonna be an easy path, like everything is gonna flow. You're gonna have setbacks, but you're gonna be more equipped to understand when it's a setback and what path is right for you, because you learned yourself really well, and you cannot learn about yourself really well if you haven't learned about your distractions, about your defense mechanisms, about what is holding you back in protection and fear. That is really about learning about yourself, so that you can guide yourself a lot better than when you're going into trying out new things and positive things. And of course, it's not like black or white, like you first only work on stopping and then only work on starting. It integrates a little bit, but the principle is really to stop before you start. So if you want to, really have a practical guide and support in your journey of doing this, I have created a digital course, like in 10 steps, how to love yourself and live fully, which is really about this, how to stop before you start. So I don't have info right now, but it will come like in this description. I will make a video to talk about that course, but that's coming up. So that you can really, if you really want to do this more practically, or if you want to, do it more in steps and more discipline, and like with the support of my videos and leaflets and the worksheets, and basically taking a course. So I will give you info on that. But if you don't need that, so just remember those principles of stopping before you're starting, so that the transformation will come more fluently, like it will come more naturally, and you will be more, the chances of you actually changing something in your life will be a lot bigger when you have awareness, and when you have the discipline to stop something, and when you can face something, and when you can be open for new things, to start with things. Those steps, that's like your chances to transform your life, and to eventually, this is not a quick fix, it's not a quick journey, eventually have more happiness and peace in your life. If you want to reach that, you first need to stop, face whatever's uncomfortable. You need to do the dark shit first, and then integrate it into the light shit. So then you will do this work more efficiently. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you resonate with this, or if you want to know more about this, if you have experience from this, please comment in the comment section. Or if you want like coaching or therapy support in this, you can reach out to me on my website, and we can connect. And I will also have like live webinars, preferably with this theme. I will definitely have that. So check out for info coming up on that. And I wish you a good day.